Sup y'all, Manny here, and happy belated 2023. New year, new place. I hope you guys enjoy this new setup here. It looks very similar to my last one, but it is a lot more space for me here, so I'm loving it. But anyways, with the recently announced Power Rangers 30th year anniversary special that's gonna be on Netflix, I think this is the perfect time to do this review. Yes, we got Power Rangers here in the US for the first time back in 1993. Crazy, right? I was just starting kindergarten. But yes, instead of reviewing the entire original series, which is very long and kind of confusing, it's more simple if I just review the 1995 movie. So, how does a 1995 Power Rangers movie hold up today, you ask? Let's discuss. Okay, I guess I gotta talk about the show first. Where to start? Okay, let's start in 1993. Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers debuted on Fox Kids on August 28th, 1993. Now, my memory is a little fuzzy on this, but for the most part, I do remember when I first saw this show. If I remember correctly, it was the first day of kindergarten for me. I just finished watching an episode of Barney and Friends. Yes, as a kid, I liked that show too. Anyways, after the episode of Barney, the Power Rangers came on and I was hooked like instantly. From their suits, the robots, or in this case, the swords, to the violence. I became an instant fan. I remember there was this Power Rangers watch that you had to order through a Captain Crunch box or something. And I wanted it so bad. I begged my dad for it and he ended up getting it for me. I was so hyped to have that watch. I felt like a badass. My dad, for some reason, didn't want me to take this watch to school, but of course I took it to school and showed it off. And when he came to pick me up from my kindergarten class, I was so scared that he'll catch me with the watch that I hid it under my jacket, but I guess it wasn't really secure. So as I walked to the car and I checked my, inside of my jacket or whatever, it's gone. It must have fell off. And I was so sad that I lost that watch. It's like, I never told my dad about it because I was scared I was gonna get in trouble for bringing it in the first place. And he never asked me about it again, so yeah, we just forgot about it, I guess. But yeah, for this video, I'm Googling this Captain Crunch box, and somebody actually has a scanned image of it. So that's pretty cool. I totally forgot how that watch looked like because I don't remember the watch looking like this. It has to be this box. It can't be another one. It's just been so long I forgot. I only had it for like a few days. Actually, upon looking at all these pictures of the watches I found on Google, this one right here in particular rings a bell. I think it was this watch that I had. But it's not the same one on the box, so I don't know. Maybe my dad just went to the store and bought me a Power Rangers watch instead of trying to order it through the cereal box. I don't know. Yeah, I just can't remember. It's gonna be a lost memory forever now, I guess. Anyways, here is why I don't want to review the show. Just look at how many freaking episodes there are. My god, I don't have the time to watch all this. Look. Season 1 has 60 episodes? By the time you finish with Season 2, you already would have watched 112 episodes. 145 by Season 3. Holy sh**. It's too much. I can't. Also, I think like, 10 years ago or something, I was trying to rewatch the Power Rangers on Netflix, and man, they did not age well. It was very cheesy and just bad acting, and yeah, it was not anywhere near as good as I remembered it to be. Heck, even back then I think I kind of knew how cheesy it was anyways. Yeah, I just couldn't get through it watching it again as an adult. It was not good. So don't expect a review from me anytime soon. Unless I'm making big YouTube money, I am not gonna rewatch the entire original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers seasons. Like I said, reviewing this movie is much easier and more palatable. But yes, as a kid, I only got as far as Power Rangers in Space. That was like, what, 1999? Yeah, after that, I lost complete interest in the Power Rangers. If I remember correctly, most of the original cast was gone by then anyways. Another reason I got tired of the show is because it follows a formula every episode. Basically, a monster shows up, then the Power Rangers fight it, then Rita or whoever makes a monster really big, so then the Power Rangers call on their swords, then they fight them, then they destroy the monster, and yeah, rinse and repeat almost every episode. So yeah, that formula gets very very tiring after a while. It's also a shame that they have to come up with a new design for a monster every episode, and it's such a waste. Like, some of these might have some really cool designs, but you're only going to use it for one episode and then that's it. So all that hard work designing a monster for nothing just to use it for one episode, and they've been doing this for years. Like, I haven't seen the recent episodes, so I don't know if they're still following that formula, but I think they are, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Now let me just touch briefly on how the Power Rangers got started overall, because I think it's kind of important to this. So the Power Rangers are basically the American version of the Japanese show called Super Sentai. I hope I'm saying that right. Basically all the footage you see with the American actors was originally shot for the Power Rangers. Then they would add the stock footage from Super Sentai, mostly the action scenes where they're all in the suits and whatnot, and splice it together with whatever they shot with the American actors, and voila, you got Power Rangers. Quick fun fact, in Super Sentai, the Yellow Ranger is played by a man, baby. Sorry, that's an Austin Powers reference. Please don't get offended. Anyways, in the American version, the Yellow Ranger is played by a female. So that's why when you see the Yellow Ranger on screen, you don't see her with a skirt or breasts for that matter, because the stock footage has the man playing the Yellow Ranger. So yeah, there you go. Now it looks like Super Sentai has been going on since the 70s. That is crazy. I had no idea. This is according to the Wikipedia page. But of course, Power Rangers is still going on today, so I guess that's not much of a surprise. The show is still very successful and appealing to kids. Also, I gotta give it up to them. They always had a diverse cast from the beginning, and it looks like they're still doing that today. So that's awesome, because representation matters, motherfucker. Anyways, the man who saw Super Sentai and decided to bring it to America was none other than Haim Saban. I hope I said that right too. I think it's worth mentioning because at the end of every episode of Power Rangers, I remember that Saban logo pretty clearly. But this is the first time I see who Saban actually was. I thought he was another Japanese person because the name Saban to me sounds like Japanese, but that just shows what an uncultured swine I am, because his nationality is Israeli. Whatever, people get my race wrong all the time. But yes, that's about as much history of the Power Rangers I'm going to give out here, because again, I'm learning a lot of this for the first time now, and I'm not about to read through a whole Wikipedia page when the point of this review was to avoid reviewing the actual show because of how ridiculously long it is. So yeah, I'm sure there are better videos on YouTube, maybe hundreds of them, explaining the whole history of Power Rangers better than I can. Let's get to it for real, for real. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie was released on June 30th, 1995, and it was directed by Brian Spicer. Now this movie came out at the zenith of the Power Rangers craze because I was hyped. My mom took me to the theaters to watch this movie and I loved it. After that, she got me the VHS tape and I watched the crap out of it. Just in case, here's your spoiler warning. You've been warned. The gist of the plot is that there's a giant purple egg that gets unearthed at this random construction site. So later that night, Lord Zed, Rita, Goldar, and Mordant? Who is this pig? Anyways, they go and crack open the egg, and out comes Ivan Ooze, played by Paul Freeman. Yes, Paul Freeman from the first Indiana Jones movie. And he's fantastic as Ivan Ooze. Probably the best thing in this movie. Now, Ivan Ooze is a morphological being who ruled the Earth 6,000 years ago, who was locked away by Zordon himself. The Power Rangers go to confront Ivan Ooze, who distracts him with his own ooze monsters.
Meet my kids!
So while the Power Rangers are fighting, Ivan Ooze pays Zordon a visit. I always like this flute part right here that he does.
It's time to pay the piper.
Ivan destroys the command center and nearly kills Zordon and robs the Power Rangers of their power. I guess their powers are connected to Zordon and the command center? I don't know, they never really explained that. And if they explained it on the show, then I have no clue. So Alpha 5 sends the now powerless Rangers to a distant planet to obtain the Great Power and save Zordon. That's what it's called, the Great Power. Meanwhile, Ivan Ooze betrays Lord Zed and Rita and locks them up in a snow globe. So now Ivan wants to unearth his ectomorphicons to take over the Earth once again, but he's gonna need help. So he dresses up as a wizard and gives away his own ooze to the kids for free that the parents come in contact with and become Ivan Ooze's slave. Oh, and he unleashes these birds called the Tengu Warriors to go after the Powerless Rangers. They get their asses handed to them, but then this master warrior named Dulcia comes to the rescue. And I love this part right here where Tommy tries to get big with Dulcia.
We won't fail.
Owned. But Dulcia's on their side because she's tight with Zordon. So she does some ritual there to give them the animal spirit to help them in their quests. They go through the jungle, face some monsters, and finally get that great power they've been seeking. They get back to Earth right on time to fight the Ectomorphicons with their new swords. They destroy one of the Morphicons and there's only one left, so Ivan Ooze gets inside of it and controls it to fight the Power Rangers. So they take the fight to space and they kick Ivan Ooze in the nuts and send him right into Ryan's comet, destroying him. The Power Rangers then use their new powers to resurrect Zordon. The parents snap out of the mind control that Ivan Ooze had over them and the world is once again saved by the Power Rangers. The end. Now this movie feels like a longer episode from the show, except with a higher budget. To the costumes, to the cinematography, to even, yes, the special effects. It's all been upgraded from the show. The costumes themselves look a lot better since it's not just spandex anymore. It actually resembles some sort of armor. Even though it does look a little plasticky, it's better than the spandex. The costumes even have some special features now, like a flashlight and tracking visors. And come on, you can't tell me this wasn't paying homage to Terminator here. Anyway, the action here is still pretty good. I mean, it does look a little bit wiry and whatnot, but it's still enjoyable, especially for Power Rangers standards. I enjoyed it. But man, the puns in this fight scene, and just the movie as a whole. It's pun.
Use, you lose.
After pun.
It's gonna be one messy night.
After pun.
Talk about a splitting headache.
After pun. 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 But I gotta say, I'm not mad at it. It was actually pretty good. It's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Batman and Robin, because he was just doing it every freaking second. At least here, they were somewhat spaced out. So yes, this movie has some pretty funny moments, like this part right here.
Do you want us to take another whack at it?
How about taking another quack at it?
That was unexpected. It was pretty hilarious. I love that. Man, Paul Freeman was just so great in this movie. He is the best part of this movie as Ivan Ooze. You could just tell he's having a blast with this. Even though it was grueling to go through that makeup process, that it really irritated his skin after wearing that makeup for so long.
All my skin flared up. Nobody had thought, and certainly hadn't thought, that you can't put prosthetics on skin every single day for 12-hour days without it affecting you.
He pushed through and made this role iconic. Come on, Hasbro, release an Ivan Ooze action figure already. But yes, it's great to see the original cast here in HD, because everything that was shot for the show looks like complete shit in comparison. So I'm glad to see the original cast be immortalized here on film. Even though I really wish we had the original characters of Jason, Trini, and Zach, who left the show sometime during the second season, because apparently they could have made more money working at McDonald's than working on this show. Like, what the f? But Adam, Rocky, and Aisha are cool too. I did get used to them and actually like them a lot in the show. Wait, I was just talking about McDonald's, so this is probably the perfect segue for this. Who here remembers the Power Rangers toys that came with your Happy Meal at McDonald's? I do, because I wanted to collect them all so bad. And thanks to my mom, I did. I remember she was just as determined as I was to make sure that I collected them all. Maybe it was because these toys were a lot cheaper than buying the action figures at a toy store or something. But I will say for sure is because she's an awesome mom. Love you, Mom. Though I don't remember which was the last figure I needed to complete my collection. I do remember when my mom came in through the door and she had a surprise for me, and it was that last action figure that I needed. I was so happy. Then after a while, I have no idea what happened to those toys. I think they got lost forever, or they were in a toy box or something, I don't know. But that is one of my awesome memories of this movie, was collecting the McDonald's toys. You see, guys, to the few viewers that I have here, hopefully this doesn't make it boring when I talk about my personal experiences with these movies and games. I feel like that's probably the only thing that makes this review stand out. So if you made it this far into my video, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having fun. Now, since this happened recently, I obviously remember waking up to the horrible, sad news that Jason David Frank, the original Green and White Ranger, was dead. I just couldn't believe it. Now, I was going to mention this in my intro there in my room, but I was like, let me just keep things light because this is a heavy subject. Like, I'm not going to get into the details of his passing and whatnot. I just want to say that, you know, Jason David Frank was very good to his fans. I got to meet him at Comic-Con in New York back in 2013, and he was very great. From all the videos I saw with him interacting with fans, he was always great to his fans. And yeah, he really embraced the role of the White Ranger, Tommy Oliver. He was not ashamed of, you know, appearing in this cheesy kids show. It was an honor to meet him and take a photo with him while he was in his Green Ranger suit. That was really freaking awesome. It was a great memory. I shaked his hand. You know, he was, you know, very, very nice. And one of the most memorable things about him is every time he does a move, he goes like... His yaws were epic and memorable. He will be very, very missed. He is definitely the best Power Ranger of all time, bar none. Now back to the movie. Let's talk about the CGI they use in it. Yes, it looks like absolute shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie here. I'm not sure what my opinion of these special effects were back then. I don't remember, but I can't imagine this looking good back in 1995 when we had other movies that did this way better than this movie did, like Terminator 2 or Jurassic Park, and those came out a few years earlier than this movie did. But I guess in comparison to those movies, this movie had a smaller budget. I guess it was 15 million if the Wikipedia page is correct, compared to the other movies that had much higher budgets. Back then also was very hard to do these special effects on computers. You know, it's not like today that is like every movie now has CGI. But with that said, the CGI here still sucks. Also, the story here, you really can't fit it into the show, really. I mean, I guess it takes place between season 2 and 3 from what I gathered, but continuity wise, it doesn't make sense. Like, look at Rita's henchmen here from the show. I'm just gonna show the picture here because I don't remember their names and I'm too lazy to look them up right now. It's just these henchmen right here or whatever. Now, compared to the henchmen here in the movie, there's only two of them, Goldar and this pig Mordant? Mordant? I don't know. Like, I caught this when I was a kid. I'm like, who the hell is that pig guy? And where's everybody else? This doesn't make sense. I don't know why they made that change. I mean, at least Goldar's there, but yeah, why? I don't know. The Wikipedia page basically confirms that no, this does not go into the continuity of the show. It's his own thing, I guess. And yeah, it feels like an episode as well because there's really no character development in this movie. I mean, I guess you could argue there is because they get new powers and whatnot. And they learn, well, I don't know if they learn anything really, but there's no major changes to the characters here in terms of their personality or something that they learned or whatever. So character depth is shallow here. That could be argued. But if you're a fan of the show, you already know how the characters act already. So that's all you really need to go by here. You want to see your favorite superheroes take on some new cool bad guys and whatnot. So that still works. But you have to be a fan of the show already. Also, I gotta give credit to Bulk and Skull, the bullies from the Power Rangers show. They're in this movie as well. Not for long, but the little scenes they have, they're actually very funny. I like it. Paul Schreier, who plays Bulk, and Jason Narvi, who plays Skull, did a great job being very entertaining with these characters. I actually got to briefly meet them at a Comic-Con in Rhode Island back in 2016. Unfortunately, I was broke, so I couldn't really take a picture with them because, you know, you gotta pay to take photos with the celebrities in these conventions, which is fine, it's fair, I'm sure. But yeah, they were very nice to me regardless, and they gave me a great moment and conversation stuff, so that was pretty cool. I like that. They're cool guys. I somewhat recently bought this movie on Blu-ray, and the quality looks great. On my 4K TV from a distance, looks freaking nice. I was also surprised that this movie has somewhat recent interviews with most of the cast and crew that worked on this movie. It's pretty cool and worth checking out especially if you're a fan of this movie in particular. Like, apparently there's a few deleted scenes here, and they had to recast this warrior princess since they shot with another actress. So yeah, interesting stuff. Now yes, this movie is pretty cheesy. Power Rangers as a whole is very cheesy. Like I said, I tried to watch the show a few years ago and I just could not get into it. Well, I enjoyed this movie a lot more and had more fun with it. I mean, there are some cringy moments here. I don't know why it gets to me that right after they do this skydiving scene, they're just out there roller skating together and they're all wearing their colors, like, you know, blue and pink and all that stuff. It's like, oh god, it just looks so cringy. I don't know why that part just cringed the fuck out of me. So fucking lame. Okay, let me mention this real quick because this review is going way longer than I wanted it to. I remember there was this episode of Power Rangers. I forget which version of it was, but there was this episode where there was this rock band that sang a song and it got stuck in all their heads. So much so that when the Power Rangers were fighting, they stopped mid-fight to sing this song. And I remember thinking that was so f***ing cringy. Oh my god. And that song kind of got stuck in my head and I always remember the little rhythm to it. I don't remember the lyrics, but I remember the rhythm to it. And yes, when I was a kid and I saw this, I was already like, wow, this is very lame. I forgot the name of the episode, but thanks to the Power Rangers YouTube page, I finally found it. It's called The Song of Confusion, and it was in Power Rangers Turbo. Just look at this. Ugh, this is terrible, terrible. Anyways, I just remembered everybody had a crush on Kimberly here. And I gotta admit, I didn't. I had a crush on Topanga from Boy Meets World. I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. She still is. But Kimberly, I thought she was pretty, but I never really had a crush on her. My god. They put her in this outfit here and her body's on freaking point. Like, I think I know what they were trying to do here. They were just trying to get little boys to drool over Kimberly, the Pink Ranger and whatnot, which was, I guess, pretty effective. Looking back at it now, I was like, wow, why didn't I have a crush on her? She is freaking fine. Relax, people. I think we were supposed to be attracted to her, so it's okay. The soundtrack to this movie was actually pretty good. It has some good music. From Red Hot Chili Peppers in the beginning of the movie when they're jumping off the plane and skydiving, to some other songs here, like at the end credits too. They actually took Alpha 5's Ay 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 and, you know, made it into a song, which was pretty catchy. So yeah, the soundtrack here is pretty decent. I like it. I even like the musical score for the movie itself. It's not the most memorable, but like, it has some good moments. But anyways, to finish this video finally, I would say if you're not a fan of Power Rangers back then or ever, then you're probably not gonna like this movie. This movie is textbook definition of being made for the fans, which were us kids when we were kids. Yeah, if you are gonna watch this now and you were never a fan, don't do that. You're not gonna like this. This was not made for you. So the rating that a non-fan will give this is probably like a 3 out of 10 or less. But since I am a fan and I grew up with the show, and the show itself is not as good as I remember, but this movie actually kind of is. It was actually very entertaining, cheesy as all hell, but very entertaining, and its nostalgia has helped with this score here. Also, let me just say that regardless of how cheesy the show was, Power Rangers left a big impact on my childhood, more so than I thought. For example, my comic book, Coalition Heroes. I'll admit, when I was a kid in 6th grade and I first came up with this story, I was basically ripping off Dragon Ball Z. But without thinking, I was actually very heavily inspired by Power Rangers. The gist of the story is that this Guardian of Earth takes these random teenagers from the hood and grants them superpowers to save the world from this evil space witch. If that's not Power Rangers. But yeah, like, I did that without really thinking about Power Rangers, so that just goes to show you how it inspired my comic book here, Coalition Heroes. So maybe to an extent, without Power Rangers, there'll be no Coalition Heroes, which you could check out in the link below in the description. I will very much appreciate it if you do. Enough about that. But no, it was a lot of fun, this movie, actually. I enjoyed it more than I remember. Well, not more than I remember, but more than I thought I would now that I'm older. The CGI does not hold up at all, but it probably didn't even hold up back then. So yeah, just overlook that. I mean, you have great performances here by the legendary Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze. He's a lot of fun, and the original cast is too. They're all literally in their glory days, at their prime. So with that, I give Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie a 7 out of 10. And those are my thoughts on the 1985 Power Rangers movie. I enjoyed it more than I thought, and I definitely enjoyed it more than the show I tried to rewatch about 10 years ago now. And Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze was hilarious. He was having a blast with that role, and I wish we could have seen more of him. But again, I only can recommend this movie if you grew up with this show and are a fan of the show, because otherwise you watch this and you never really seen Power Rangers, you're gonna think it's cheesy as f. But if you grew up with it and you watch it now, you might be pleasantly surprised how good it is. And to Jason David Frank, arguably the best Power Ranger to ever suit up, just thanks for all the awesome childhood memories that you gave to all of us 90s kids. And, you know, just making our childhood that much more awesome. And for embracing this role for so many years, even after the original run, and meeting with your fans in the conventions, me included, and whatnot, and just giving us, you know, the time of day and memorable meetup with you. And yeah, just may you rest in peace, and you will be missed. So with that, this has been a review of the 1995 Power Rangers movie, Just 'Cause.